Cy Lynch and Aaron Reitzel clash. Dason Pursley and Tanner Thorson are first-time High Limit Racing winners, and Rico Abreu retakes the points lead. It was a crazy weekend at Lernerville, and we break it all down on the High Limit Room. I'm Chase Rodman. Welcome back to the High Limit Room. Later on, we will be joined by Tony Laporta and Brian Walker to talk all of the storylines heading into this week. But before that, let's recap a wild weekend in Western Pennsylvania. On night number 1 over at Lernerville Speedway, it was the 40th race of the 2025 season with Kubota High Limit Racing. 29 cars signed in for prelim night action at the Commonwealth Clash. Qualifying was topped by Ryan Smith, who entered the weekend off of 3 straight High Limit Racing top 10s during the Tuscarora 50 weekend, driving the Kreitz Racing 69K. Now, it didn't take long for some drama to appear during the heat races as Dason Pursley won the first one without any issues, but the second heat, contact right off the bat between series point leader Aaron Reitzel and Cy Lynch in turn 1 sent the hometown hero off the track with a damaged race car. Under that same caution, Lynch displayed his anger by clipping Aaron Reitzel's front end and bending the suspension on the Ridge & Sons Racing 87. Lynch would be disqualified by series officials, and Reitzel would surrender to the pit area with too much damage to continue on. That heat race was eventually won by Giovanni Scelzi, with Brad Sweet grabbing the ace in the hole during heat race number 3 with a 4th to 1st charge to get the win. Sweet would utilize his pole position in the FK Rod-Ends dash to win it and start on the pole of the main event next to Dason Pursley. Sweet, who was looking for his first win since Florence Speedway back on July 11th, would lead this one early and often at a track where he has been very, very good in the past. On lap 7, there was one caution, the only caution in the race on lap 7, when Jeremy Weaver spun around in turns 3 and 4, but it was clear at that point in time that Tanner Thorson, his car was extremely fast. He had already driven from 12th up to 5th in a very short amount of time, but with Sweet's 2+ second lead, it was going to be tough to pass the defending series champion and 3-time World of Outlaws winner at Lernerville. Thorson's car was so dialed in on the bottom, however, that he tracked down Brad Sweet by lap 27 and took the lead with a 3-wide move, trying to get by a lap car as well at the same time. And after 4 second-place finishes this season with High Limit and 1 with the World of Outlaws as well, Tanner Thorson finally broke through for his first career win. Brad Sweet would run 2nd, Dason Pursley 3rd, Justin Peck 4th, and Cy Lynch, who we mentioned earlier, charged from the B main, started 19th and ran 5th in the A main for that number 42 car with Mercedes Motorsports. After a 7th-place finish with Rico Abreu, he would close into just 1 point behind Aaron Reitzel for the championship lead, as Reitzel would finish 17th in the feature after the issue during the heat race. The $30,000 to win and $2,000 to start Commonwealth Clash finale drew in an extra 3 cars on Saturday night to bring us up to 32 in the pit area, meaning the top 4 finishers from the previous night were locked into the 4th starting positions in the heat races with a chance to make the dash. Rico Abreu, he would be the fast time qualifier and win heat race number 1 with Anthony Macri, Logan Wagner, and Ryan Smith, 3 PA Posse drivers grabbing the other heat race victories later on in the program. Dason Pursley, he would win the dash and start on the pole of the feature next to Ryan Smith for the weekend finale, and the leading Rookie of the Year contender would lead lap number 1 of the feature, which would be his first High Limit Racing lap lead of his career, but it would not last very long as Rico Abreu would make a 2-for-1 slider happen in turns 3 and 4 and take the lead on lap number 2. Similar to Sweet that previous night, Rico Abreu pulled out to an over 2-second lead at one point in time with Ryan Smith in tow and Brad Sweet making his way forward from a 6th starting position as Dason Pursley slipped back to the 4th spot midway through the race. In a non-stop 35-lap feature, Rico Abreu would catch the back of the field, and the handling on that number 24 car would go away in the process. As quickly as he took the lead, he would lose it just as quickly on lap number 20 when Brad Sweet, Ryan Smith, and Dason Pursley all drove by him in a span of about a lap and a half. Sweet was looking for some redemption after the previous night's loss, but for the second night in a row, he would get passed late in the race with just 10 laps to go by a driver trying to get their first ever victory with the series, as Dason Pursley would roll some hot bottom to secure the win for Buick Motorsports and become the 17th different winner in 41 high limit racing events this year. Sweet would once again run second, Ryan Smith was third, Aber was fourth, and Justin Peck would round out the top five. And after the checkered flag flew, Aber now holds a 19-point lead in the championship standings, with Aaron Reitzel second. He is 20 points behind, and Brad Sweet 25 points back in the third position. So the top three in the standings separated by just 25 heading into Lawrenceburg Speedway this week. And with Lawrenceburg being mentioned, let's jump into that race preview here. This will be happening on Wednesday night. The High Rollers return to the battlegrounds of Lawrenceburg Speedway in Indiana for a rain date show. It is going to be the second to last event of the Roto-Rooter Midweek Series Championship. With just two midweek events left, Tanner Thorson holds the championship lead in that little mini-series over Brad Sweet by 13 points and Rico Aber by 18 points. This will be the second appearance by High Limit Racing at that daunting 3/8 mile oval. Super banked racetrack. Kyle Larson is the only driver that's won a High Limit Racing feature at this track before. He did it last year over Aber, Parker Price Miller, Sweet, and Caleb Henry. Now, Larson will not be there this week, so we will see a new winner with High Limit Racing at the Lawrenceburg Speedway. We are expecting a full field of drivers, including some names like Brady Bacon, Corey Day, Jeremy Weaver, Parker Price Miller, TJ Michaels, Sterling Kling, Jeff Dodge, Justin Clark, the driver champion with the All-Star Circuit of Champions this year, Caleb Henry, and the owner's champion with Cale Thomas driving the Rudzik Excavating 49X, and some others being in attendance as well. So will be a full field on Wednesday night. It's going to be the Driven to Save Lives Battle at the Berg, and it will be live on FloRacing at 6 p.m. Eastern. Tickets are still available right now on HighLimitRacing.com. Now, just 2 nights later, High Limit returns to the Eldora Speedway for the Four Crown Nationals alongside the USAC Silver Crown, the USAC Midgets, and the National Sprint Cars as well. It is without a doubt the best ticket in all of racing, seeing 4 of the best divisions in racing on the same night. Also on Friday, there will be GLSS Great Lakes Super Sprints 360 Sprint Cars on the card for Friday night as well. Last year, these 2 races were split between Justin Peck and Rico Aber, and the big question is, will we see anybody run all 4 divisions on Saturday, or maybe all 5 as well with GLSS on Friday and Saturday night as well? 3 names to watch out for to possibly make that attempt: Brady Bacon, Dason Pursley, and Logan Seavey. And after texting with Dason Pursley earlier on today, we can confirm that he is running not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but all 5 divisions of the Four Crown coming up this weekend. The 360 wing car, the 410 wing car, the 410 non-wing car, the midget, and the Silver Crown car. Dason Pursley is going to be a busy guy this upcoming weekend at Eldora Speedway. You're definitely going to want to watch this on FloRacing. The entire night will be on Flo. High Limit also visited Eldora earlier this year for the Joker's Jackpot. Kyle Larson got the win there live on Fox Sports 1. Meanwhile, Aaron Reitzel and Corey Day, they split the Double Down Duels prelim nights to that Joker's Jackpot feature. All right, now for our second segment this week, Brad Sweet stops in to talk to Tony Laporta about the tight championship battle, his efforts to become a 7-time national sprint car champion, and having to be on the offense rather than defense this late in the season. This championship update with Brad Sweet is brought to you by IM8, the all-in-one formula for athletes, built for performance, trusted for recovery. Use code FLOSPORTS for 10% off and visit im8health.com/FlowSports. Visit that website or scan the QR code on your screen below to get yours today.
Catching up with Brad Sweet in broiled. I don't know if that's a word for cooking or for racing. You broil a roast, I think, in the middle of a really hot championship fight. This is new territory for you. We talked about it on the broadcast last night, Chase and I think Tyler even weighed in. You're not very often on offense late in the game. You're typically the guy on defense, keeping the lead as big as you can keep it. Right now you come in third in owner points, because that's what High Limit's all about, is owner points. You're 33 back from the top spot. I talked to you back at Skagit. You said when you were at the top, it's up to them to come beat me. Does the philosophy change when you're the guy pursuing the point lead?
I don't think the philosophy, necessarily changes. Obviously, when you're behind, you want to be in the lead because, as it winds down, it gets less and less chances to make up ground. So, you still treat each and every night, as it's really important, and you're going to go out and try to get the best finish you can. But, the points towards the end of the season always kind of change a little bit, of everyone's mindset. There's some teams feel more pressure, some teams feel less pressure. Obviously, with us having the championships, we've been in these situations before. I don't think we're feeling a ton of pressure, but I do think, like you said, we've never really been behind probably this late in the game. We've definitely been close a lot of times, but, I think it's just, you just got to, rise to that level, and, 30 points isn't really a whole lot with High Limit, with the way that the points, can maneuver around. So we just got to go out and execute at a high level each and every night, and hopefully, at the end, we're ahead.
Now, race car drivers and racers and people who hang out with race car drivers enough begin to talk in the word you just used a lot, we got to do this. We're going here. We're going there. But it's a different we these days. It is really just you and Andrew Bowman who have been a part of these championship fights before. You've got Tate Williamson coming over from the 9. You guys picked up Jared Martin just a couple of weeks ago. And then, of course, your car owner, Casey Kane, but he's in a new role as far as day-to-day working on your race car. So personnel changes. That's got to add a bit of a wrinkle to doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I think if you look at our whole season as a whole, you'd have to be surprised that we'd even be in a championship situation, battling for a championship. A full crew change, DNFs, disqualifications, all sorts of, injuries, crazy things have happened this season. So, I think you just look at it as we got about 10 races left and we're 30 points out. So it's almost like a playoff in a way. And it's going to come down to obviously Aaron in the 87, Rico in the 24, our team that we have, right now with the 49 and the 7 BC, and even Brent Marks in the 19. We're all within striking distance. And I think it's whoever's going to execute at the highest level. It doesn't really matter, who's leading or not right now. There's 10 races. Whoever's going to go out and do the best over those next 10 races is going to win.
Yeah, after tonight, our second night at Lernerville for the Commonwealth Clash, night 1, you looked amazing. Ace in the hole in your heat race, win the FK Rodden's dash from the pole, and end up leading a bunch of laps before falling at the very end of Tanner Thorson. So night 2, you got to feel really good, but I want to look past Lernerville. 10 races left after tonight's done. Where on the schedule do you feel really good about where you and the 49 crew go?
I feel good about every track. We don't get too worried. You want to kind of hit your stride and get a package. You want to leave here with confidence, and in racing, it's momentum and confidence kind of go hand in hand. So if we have a good run here, we know we can go to the next track and hopefully continue that. And Lawrenceburg isn't necessarily our best track, but I've won there. I've been competitive there, been good there. Eldora's obviously where I got injured, so would like to go there and kind of overcome that and have a good weekend there. And I don't know, nothing really sticks out. I think it's more of just mitigating any, crazy bad things happening. And, you can only control what you can control, but making sure that those things that we can control, having a fast race car, mechanical failures, driver mistakes, all those things, as long as we do our job and execute down the stretch, there's no reason that we can't be champions again.
All right, now getting into the third segment of this week's show, we are joined by Brian Walker and Tony Laporta. In this segment of the show, we usually talk about some of the best bets that hit over the weekend and some coming up this weekend as well. If you would like to partake, nxtbets.com/playhlr. That is the website where you can get a sign-up bonus and see which sports books are available in your region. And we had some pretty big hits this weekend with 2 first-time winners, Tanner Thorson and Dason Pursley. Brian, Tanner Thorson at plus 6,600 Friday night for his win, and you showed me after the race a guy put, $60 on him to win and won $4,000. So that might be the biggest hit we've seen with this new thing in 2025, being able to wager on the races.
Yeah, I think his name was Jordy Andrew. He sent a tweet, tagged us all in it, and I definitely the biggest one that any of us have seen. That's really cool. Anytime you get a win, send it in, tag High Limit, tag Chase, tag Tony. It's cool. It's cool to see that stuff. The guy tweeted, it was a Thorson fan for life, obviously. He made him $4,000 betting on sprint car racing. So you're seeing this cool little aspect of High Limit make some people good money.
Yeah, and then the next night, Dason Pursley was at plus 2,500 after a podium finish on Friday, and then, of course, getting his first series win on Saturday for $30,000. Did you get any tickets coming in for plus 2,500? That's still pretty good odds for him.
I didn't see any, but I'm sure someone had to have hit with as good as Jason's running lately. So I'm sure he put a little pocket cash for someone.
Yeah, it's some pretty good odds there for those two drivers. And then we head to Lawrenceburg this weekend. We have not seen the odds come out quite yet for that race, but you got to imagine a guy like Rico Abreu is going to be up there. I think last year, Parker Price Miller was really strong with us. I think he ran on the podium. He'll be there this weekend. He could be a guy maybe to throw some money on. Also, Caleb Henry is supposed to be there this weekend. He was in the top 5, and he just wrapped up the All-Star Championship. So maybe those are a couple of guys to watch for at Lawrenceburg, don't you think, Brian?
Yeah, the obvious ones are always going to be, Brad, Rico. It's been surprising how low they've been, or I guess high the odds have been on Gio Scelzi. His odds have always, the past weekend at Lernerville, one of the nights he was like plus 2,500 or something. And that's a car and driver that's definitely capable of winning. So I'm going to be watching what he comes in at, Gio Scelzi.
Yeah, definitely a couple names to watch for at Lawrenceburg. Now let's jump into some of the stuff that happened over the weekend at Lawrenceburg here. The big storyline, I don't know if it's there's a lot of storylines actually when you think about the 2 days that we had there, but one of the storylines that happened early on in the night on Friday was Cy Lynch and Aaron Reitzel getting together in turn 1 on the first lap of the second heat race, sending Cy Lynch over the top of the racetrack. And then obviously he retaliated there under yellow and broke Reitzel's front end. Of course, that's a big deal, not only because Aaron Reitzel it was the points leader heading into that night as well, Tony, but I don't think anybody had on their bingo card at the beginning of the year that they would see a run-in like this between Cy Lynch and Aaron Reitzel, but that is exactly what happened there during the second heat race on Friday.
Yeah, and I got the chance to go and walk into both guys' haulers and talk with them. And, I want to be careful with what I share because those guys trust, you and Brian and I, and they tell us a lot of stuff. And, what Cy basically, the business he was standing on, as the kids say, is that he felt like he had multiple run-ins with Aaron already this year. He referenced 3 different occasions where they'd gotten together, and he thought it was either intentional or just, kind of careless on Aaron's part. He talked about Tulare back in the spring. He talked about night 1 of the Weichert. And then he talked about an incident in Butler. You got to go back and watch those to kind of, get a better idea of what he's talking about. But he told me that he had commented to Reitzel's crew that if it happens again, I'm gonna retaliate. I'm gonna stand up for myself. And I don't think anybody sees anything wrong with standing up for yourself. But then the question becomes, do you do it on the racetrack or not? Right? And there's lots of different theories on that. Mike Hess came down and had a conversation with both those guys after the incident. Hats off to Mike, honestly. I don't know very many times a race director comes down out of the tower. We were benefited with having a support class, but Mike came down before any other racing took place and had conversations with both the driver of the 42 and the driver of the 87, Lynch and Reitzel, and just communicated to him why he did what he did and what he thought about it. Aaron Reitzel, on the other side of it, he was really upset. He thought Cy Lynch should have been parked for the remainder of the event. He referenced theories that, hey, what's keeping me from doing this to a championship rival at Texas in a heat race and just drag him to the B main with me. That was what Aaron talked about. So lots of hurt feelings. And like I said during pre-race, both drivers kind of did a fair bit of thinking for the other one. Cy was thinking, hey, Aaron's in this championship fight. He should just focus on getting through the heat race and not worry about racing me so hard on the opening lap. And then Reitzel said the same thing. He thought, well, Cy was the quickest qualifier in the heat. All he had to do was stay in the top 6 and he was going to transfer in. Why is he trying to, live and die in the first 2 turns? So both of them were doing a little bit of thinking for each other. And at the end of the day, Mike Hess made the decision. And Cy made the best of it, drove all the way up from 19th to 5th. Incredible run. And Aaron in the 87, those guys were just kind of struggling for setup all weekend. But yeah, crazy to see everything happen as quick as it did out there on night number 1.
Yeah, and of course, when you go to Lernerville, you know that Cy Lynch is going to be one of the favorites, not only on the racetrack, but with the fans as well. And I don't know where you were standing at, Brian, if you were in the infield or wherever you were at, but when Cy got sent off the track, the fans were not happy at all with Reitzel. But then as soon as Cy Lynch came back down there and ran into Reitzel under yellow, they were all fist pumping and going crazy. So it's quite the range of emotions from the fans up in the grandstands. But As Tony mentioned, Lynch was able to recover 19th to 5th, but Aaron Reitzel, a bad weekend. The first time all year he's finished outside the top 10 2 races in a row. I want to say he was 17th and 14th on the weekend. He loses the points lead. Just not a good weekend for the RSR 87, and we'll see if they can rebound this week.
Yeah, I mean, you'll have that when you're point racing, right? And I think Aaron is still dealing with the foot injury. Obviously, that's affecting him. Well, where we go? Lawrenceburg, Eldora is a good place to turn it around. He was so good there in July, right before he got injured. I think he was at the night before, right? So he was running second or third at the time. He was tracking down Rico maybe. So this is a big weekend. I think we're at 9 lead changes now for the championship, which is insane in a season long battle like we have. As far as Cy going 19th to 5th, I talked to Kinzer Dussel, Steve Kinzer, in the pit area afterwards, and he was like, that was the first time I've seen Cy like drive mad in a long time. And it worked, honestly. 19th to 5th, one of his best runs of the year. Obviously, his best track on our tour. Also, I'd like to say, Chase, do you remember my hot take at the beginning of the season?
I did. I mentioned it to Dayson after the race. I said, Dayson, we only need 4 more wins to meet Brian's hot take on the rookies.
That's fine. That's fine. We got 10 races left. Cy is good at Lucas Oil, so I'm keeping the faith.
Dayson said he thinks he's going to win at Lawrenceburg, so hopefully he does to get that hot take a little bit.
And then he'll sweep 5 Crown.
5 Crown. Yeah, he's running all 5. We'll talk about that more here in just a minute.
Pursley is running 5 classes this weekend.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more here in just a moment. I did want to circle back, though, because we cannot continue on without talking about the winner on Friday night, Tanner Thorson, getting his first ever national touring win, and he did it from 12th place on the starting grid, which was the farthest back anybody's won all year long in the high limit event, the second farthest back anybody's run with the series in history. Tanner Thorson, how many times have we talked about him all year, Tony? He had 4 second-place runs with high limit this year, another second-place run with the Outlaws. It was about time that he got the job done. I just don't know if we would have seen him doing it from 12th. It was no surprise to see him do it at Lernerville, but to pass Brad Sweet the way he did it, it was just incredible. And you saw how emotional he was down in Victory Lane. It was very cool to see him get that done.
Yeah. You reference it. You're good about hitting the numbers up there in the booth all the time. From Butler to Fremont. The makeup date for Fremont later this summer, they had a run. The 88 team did not finish outside of the top 10 from Butler, Michigan to Fremont, and I think they had 3 or 4 trips to the podium in that stretch of races. None of us are crew chiefs. None of us can really go too in depth and explain what it is they've been working on, and this is the wall I always run into talking to the guys before the night begins. You just want that one little bit of extra insight, but nobody ever wants to let too much out of the bag when it comes to technical, mechanical stuff. Whatever it is, Tanner Thorson and that coilover car have really come into form this year. Brett Marvel, TJ Nichols, Tanner's always so good about mentioning how hard those guys work. And I know, Brian, you know TJ really well. Maybe you can shed some light on this. I know at the beginning of the year, they were kind of, I think, struggling to get TJ to understand what he was doing and just to, I don't know if buy all in, but just to get stuff done. And who knows what happened? To come to Jesus, a screaming match, who knows? But TJ Nichols is always busting his ass in the pit. So's Britton Marvel. And when they've got Lee Lindgren, Tanner's always on the phone with Stevie. So yeah, they look incredible. And man, it was just clear from very early on that first night that he had a car. And I think he told Brian, I don't remember if you were there, if it was you and I, Chase, but Tanner told a story about, early on in his career, he'd go out there for the pace laps and he'd gas it up to catch the pace car. And he'd give his crew a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Maybe it was during After the Checkers, Brian, that he told you this. And he'd give him a thumbs up or a thumbs down to let Lee and the guys know how the car was going to be for that feature. And he goes, man, I was trying to show TJ, so somebody a thumbs up come into the pace truck on Friday night. That's how good he felt about his race car. So they've got that package, that car, that engine dialed in, and I don't think it's out of this question to see Tanner get another one or a few more this year. You said it, Brian. Lucas Oil is a good place for Cy. I think Brad said it in his Friday night interview. Those two tracks are very, very similar. I don't know why they are. Drivers agree on that. So yeah, Tanner's definitely coming into form late in the year.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that pace lap thing. Damian Gardner told me a long time ago. When he knows he's got a car that can win, he knows it as soon as he gasses it up. Before the green. So, that was cool to see. And then the very next night, we kept the streak alive of three new High Limit Racing winners in 3 races, dating back to Ryan Timms at the Tuscarora 50, of course Thorson Friday, and then Dason Pursley finally got his first win, which doesn't sound like maybe the right word to use is finally, because he hasn't been doing it for that long. Really just his first full-time season in the wing car, but able to get the win after starting on the pole a couple times, starting on the front row a couple times. He won his first race, Brian. It was also the first time that he's led a lap all year from my research on the season, and he did it after falling back to 4th at one point and being there was no yellows. He said it in an interview with Jeremy Elliott. He didn't even see Rico at one point in time. He was so far behind, but he was able to still catch back up to him in traffic. His car came on really good late there. That was a exciting race. 4 lead changes, 3 different leaders. Dason Pursley, first ever Rookie of the Year to get the win with High Limit.
Well, he's not Rookie of the Year yet, Chase. It's a Rookie of the Year contender.
The leading Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. Race Rudine Foundation Rookie of the Year.
Correct.
It was impressive to see, mainly in the fact that all year the 13 has had so much speed early in the night. They're one of the best qualifiers on tour. I think they have the second most quick times behind Reitzel. And Dason can always get through the heat race well, but the feature when the track slowed down I feel like it was always the one thing they were lacking all year long. And to fall back to 4th and then rally back to pass Rico, a very good Ryan Smith in the 69K, and Brad Sweet so late in the race too, and deal with all the lap traffic. He had several close calls, I thought, in lap traffic. I was getting a little worried. We might have a Kokomo situation brewing, but he held on. Awesome to see. Like you said, we got 10 races left. I won't be surprised to see Dason pick up another one.
Like I said there earlier, he told me after the race that he is really looking forward to Lawrenceburg, and I'm not sure how many guys would say that. Lawrenceburg is it's definitely a daunting facility to go to, and Dason is excited to get there, so we'll see if he can maybe go back-to-back. And with that win, we mentioned the 17th different winner of the year, but now 9 of the 13 full-time teams with the series, Tony, have been able to get a win. The top 9 in points, basically, the Myers 14, of course, the 13, the 88, 26, all those guys. Pretty crazy stuff there. 3 new winners in a row. The storylines, as I mentioned before the feature on Saturday, are plentiful with the series, and they added another one after the race on Saturday. So just a crazy weekend, and after whatever you say right now, we've got more even stuff to talk about with the points and what's coming up this week. So you have anything else to add about Dason's win?
No, not Dason. I Tanner, though. That's why I was pointing at you. I'm not going to act like I knew this off the top of my head. I don't have as big of a brain as Brian Walker, but I'm sitting here looking at our points table on highlimitracing.com, and we're heading into, I think, the second to last Roto-Rooter midweek race of the year, and that's why I've got this spiffy hat on. And if you go look at the Roto-Rooter midweek points, there's only 13 points separating the top 2 cars, and the leader in the Roto-Rooter midweek points right now is Tanner Thorson's number 88 Rod Gross Motorsports machine. So that's crazy when you think about how they've come on at different points in the year. They kicked it off with that 11th place run at the Weikert, and they've got 2 races left, and they could lock up the midweek Roto-Rooter championship. Brad and the Casey Kane Racing 49 is only 13 points back, and the Rico Abreu Racing 24 is 18 points back. So Tanner, again, not only is he showing single night speed pretty consistently, but when you do that, it helps you out in the points. They're leading the Roto-Rooter midweek deal with only 2 races left.
I just came from Rico's shop earlier this morning. He loves Lawrenceburg, and he said we have 2 races left. He said I'm going to run podium at Lawrenceburg if I'm not going to win. And then it's just going to come down to Lucas Oil. But Rico says it's going to come down to him and someone else for the midweek title.
Brian, were you in the Rico Abreu Racing shop gym. Is that why you're sounding a little tired and worn out this morning?
Yes, me and Brady Forbrook.
Just getting in a quick ab workout?
Got to.
Good for you.
Well, I did want to look here. I'm pulling it up. Where did Thorson run? He was 7th at Lawrenceburg last year. So if he can do 7th again, and then we know how prominent he is at Lucas Oil Speedway, almost won a race there earlier this year. This Roto-Rooter Series championship, just like last year, could come down to the final lap. I believe it was tied last year, if I'm not mistaken, between Sunshine and Brad Sweet. It came down to the final lap there, so we might see that happen again. Now, at the end of the weekend at Lernerville, with 2 really bad runs for Aaron Reitzel and the Ridge & Sons Racing Team, Rico Abreu now leads the overall championship standings once again. Brian mentioned earlier that's the 9th time the points lead has been changed. He has a 19-point lead over Reitzel, or is it a 20-point lead there, Brian? And then it's 25 over Brad Sweet, who was 66 behind going into the weekend. So just when you thought he was out of it, Brad Sweet shows you that he's a 6-time champion for a reason, and he is nowhere near out of this thing with 10 races to go.
Yeah, and I mean, if you really think about it, of the 3 that are really in the thick of it right now, nobody has more experience. Even, I'm not going to say being on the offense in championship chase, just as much as dealing with a very tight one. I think his first outlaw title back in 2019, I mean, it came down to the last race at Charlotte. Him and Donnie Schatz were trading blows the whole season. And I think they entered like 2 or 4 points apart to the last race. So Brad knows how to deal with situations like this and, not get flustered. Like he had such a bad stretch at Skagit, all 3 nights at one of his best tracks. The best run was 13th. Go to Port Royal, struggle even more. So to rally back the 25 points behind, and with 10 races is honestly a lot of time to make up ground. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see the 49 make it 10 lead changes in the championship.
Yeah, no doubt. And Reitzel had a really tough weekend there at Lernerville. Obviously, we mentioned that, outside the top 10 twice in a row. But we know how fast he was at Eldora, Tony, before his wreck on the night before the Kings Royal there. He won one of the double down dual prelim nights. He was right up there at the Joker's Jackpot finale. I'm not sure how he's going to look at Lawrenceburg. He's led laps before there with the Outlaws, but never won. I think his best run's a 7th place there. But I mean, Reitzel is extremely good at Eldora, and I got a feeling he's going to be driving a little bit harder, knowing the last time he left there was in an ambulance. So we'll see if Aaron Reitzel can kind of turn it back around after having a tough weekend here and show that, he's got what it takes, the moxie to still contend for this championship after 2 bad nights. But I don't think we can count him out yet, even with his injury that he's got dealing with right now.
Moxie, great word, Chase. Hashtag Danny Sams the third in the 24D. Started 4th, finished 4th when High Limit was there live on Fox Sports 1 right before the weekend where he got injured out there with the Outlaws. So, Aaron, obviously, and I think I feel like I have a memory of sometime earlier this year where either in an interview or an off-camera conversation, he was just talking about how much he enjoys going to Eldora. So that's obviously going to be kind of the medicine the doctor ordered for those guys after the weekend they had in Western Pennsylvania. Yeah, Aaron's going to, fight this thing out. Somebody was talking to, I think it was Mike Hess earlier this year about, Aaron lost like 10 or 15 pounds or something over the off season. And they were in the shop and they were doing every single thing that you have to do to go national for 10 wing sprint car racing. Except Aaron and his team were having to do it after not having done it for the last couple of years. They were taking this program back on the road national. So Reitzel is as committed as anybody else in the field to win a championship, and he has so much motivation. Brian, your article at the beginning of the year was perfect. From stitches to riches. Man, the guy has been knocked out. He's been hospitalized. He's had surgery, and he's still here fighting for a championship. Aaron Reitzel is the real deal.
Yeah, I think he showed his commitment when he was on crutches in Victory Lane at Port Royal. So, before Eldora, obviously, is Lawrenceburg, Brian, and that is one of the most exciting racetracks in the country. It's in the top 10 of my favorite racetracks. Whenever we go there, 3-story sliders, the battlegrounds. It's a place that a lot of guys are scared of, but there's a a very select few that really enjoy going there. I'm expecting a super, super good race at Lawrenceburg. We are looking like we're going to get to a full field. Last I checked, somewhere around the 22 mark of cars. So we're going to have a solid field showing up there. And who knows who's going to win this one? Because the last time we were there was Kyle Larson. We know he won't be there. So we will have a new High Limit Racing winner at Lawrenceburg on Wednesday night.
You know who is a good? Give me your. Wow, what's the word? Sleeper. Who's your sleeper for Wednesday? I think I have a good one.
My sleeper. My sleeper is going to be like big sleeper. I'm going with Caleb Henry because last time we were there, he finished
big sleeper. He won the All-Star title.
He won the All-Star title, but I mean, last year in that 101 car, he was top 5 his first ever time to Lawrenceburg, which I feel like is a pretty impressive feat. And now that he's got the All-Star title and maybe got a little momentum on his side, I'm going to go with Caleb Henry. I'd like to hear Tony's, though. Tony, who's your dark horse for Lawrenceburg?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a toss-up, right? Like with him winning the All-Star deal, but, showing up the way he did. And he started on the front row with us last year at Lawrenceburg and ended up 5th. So, yeah, I do think Caleb Henry's a really good pick. I don't know if this is it feels so crappy to call him a sleeper because he just won. But, I don't know if I think of, Lawrenceburg as, necessarily one of Tanner Thorson's, tracks in his wheelhouse. Yeah, he ran top 10. He had to do it from 16th last year. I don't know, with the momentum and the confidence that they have, maybe they don't qualify as a dark horse or a sleeper because they're a full-timer and they're really running well lately. But I still just don't look at Lawrenceburg and necessarily think of that as one of Tanner's, one of his tracks, one of his style places he grew up doing. So I don't know. Is that even an acceptable offer?
Well, Brian's the one that asked the question, so I'll let him. Determine
that's
if
fine.
that's the case or not.
The court will rule it's allowed.
Okay.
Sustained.
So what?
The where I went with that though was I was going with PPM. He ran podium last year at Lawrenceburg, and they're fresh off. They struggled a little bit at Lernerville, obviously, but then they had a great Tuscarora 50 running. He led laps Friday night. He was up front Saturday in the 50. So I'm gonna go with PPM and Bernie close to home.
Well, a 4th new high limit winner in 4 races, I think, would feed families for generations. That would be
I'd take it.
Incredible cinema.
Yeah, I'd take it. Hey, I just want to clean something up because I kind of word vomited on Friday when we were trying to talk about and explain the points. We see it, all three of us, all the time on Facebook and all the social media threads. People are just bewildered that we show owner standings instead of driver standings. And the best analogy, and I really hope, this doesn't offend any drivers or car owners for that matter, but this is the best analogy I can come up with, and I hope people will use this to understand what's going on with High Limit. When you go to Walmart or Target or Cat Foods RS for you, Chase, I don't know where you go do your shopping, but when you go and you buy something and you hand the money over, you're not paying Daniel, the cashier, right? You're not putting money in Daniel's pocket or Sarah or whoever's working right in front of you and doing the transaction. You're putting money into Walmart. You're putting money into Target. You're putting money into Cats R Us. There are a lot of race car drivers out there. There are not as many race car owners. So High Limit gears their points towards making sure the owners and the race cars stay on track. The owners have deals with their drivers where the drivers get paid. And these guys aren't working for free. I promise you that. But everybody wants to know, why are the points all about owners? Why are the points around the car numbers? Why does the money go that way? Because it costs a whole lot more to run a race team and operate one of these cars on a national level than it does to just the driver's just a part of the equation. So I always see people freak out and not understand, why aren't we talking about drivers' points? Well, at High Limit, the emphasis is on the car, the emphasis on the car number. And I don't know if Flo's going to clip that and post it to clear some things up. I really hope they do. But that's, is that a fair analogy to explain why the emphasis is put towards the car owners? What do you guys think?
Well, I was going to say at the end of your little spiel there was for Flo to clip that and keep that Cats R Us thing in there and keep Daniel and keep Sarah and keep all those analogies and whatnot in there. Yes, because all of Tony's friends on Facebook, they just get a little bit confused. They don't really know what's going on. And so hopefully, if we put that on Facebook, that will certainly clear the air a little bit and help people figure out that we are looking at the owner's points. That's where the big check at the end of the year goes to. That's where that franchise goes to. It doesn't go to the driver. And so, yes, we wanted to Make sure we get that clip for Facebook. Tyler Burnett, you are the man. Now, let's finish things up here with two more things. Brian, we mentioned it just a few minutes ago. Dason Pursley, as of right now, the only driver we know of running all 5 divisions at Eldora this weekend. I texted him earlier today. He said he's running the Chad Boat non-wing car, the Chad Boat Midget, the Chad Boat 360 wing sprint car with the Great Lakes Super Sprints, the Shawn Michaels Silver Crown car, and of course the Tom Boog 13 wing sprint car in the 410s. I kind of wish that GLSS was running on Saturday as well, to see him bounce between 5 cars in one night, but he'll do it over 2 nights. Impressive. It's going to be fun to watch. Dason Pursley, you'll see how many of those races he's able to win.
Yeah, I believe he's obviously the only driver running all 5 classes. I want to say off the top of my head right now, I believe he's the only one doing 4 for the 4 crown on Saturday night. The last I talked to him, Logan Seavey doesn't have a wing ride. I don't think Justin Grant. I mean, as crazy as he is, he's going through the same. It's kind of crazy how what Justin Grant is doing has been overlooked a little bit. I feel when him winning SmackDown and getting out with the monstrosity on his leg. I saw it change this week, and he's into more of a normal boot now. But I can't imagine he's going to get a wing ride. He'll be doing his normal 3 with USAC and several other R for the midgets, the non-wing, and the Silver Crown. So I believe Dason's the only one doing 4, let alone 5
now,
this weekend.
The only guy I could think of, Brian, I don't know if you've talked to him or not, is Brady Bacon that could potentially do all 5.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Talk to him.
I haven't talked to him. I'll ask him. He'll be at Lawrenceburg too on Wednesday. I want to say last year he didn't do it. I think he hasn't been running midgets at USAC midget out really other than BC. So I'll reach out to Brady. He's definitely a potential.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see him in the midget at Eldora. I think that time has come and gone for Brady Bacon to run the midget at Eldora, but maybe we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. But Dason Pursley, he is running all 5, so that will be fun. And the final thing I wanted to wrap up with here, Tony, is it was great to have Tyler Courtney back at the racetrack this weekend. Had Sunshine up in the booth, and he did a great job doing some color commentary and kind of bringing up some different viewpoints as a driver of the things that were happening on the racetrack. What were your thoughts on having him up there for the first time? And he'll be back in the booth at Lawrenceburg, Eldora. He'll be in the booth the rest of the year except for Bridgeport and Path Valley. I thought he did a pretty darn good job for his first weekend up there.
Yeah, I did too. Tyler's a great addition. And there are some drivers that are better than others at doing that job. And so, no matter what, you always want a driver that's up there. But I thought Tyler really was on the, on the sharper end of the guys that I've seen put down the steering wheel and come up to the booth. Obviously his is just a temporary thing, but I know it's something you've been wanting, for a very long time. Personally, it was really nice to go to the production broadcast meetings that we have every night, before we get going and have one of the booth announcers not throw food at me during that. So Tyler was very friendly, and I liked that he didn't pick on me that way. And that's a joke. You don't throw food at me. I just eat it before anybody can throw it at me. So, but yeah, he did great. I thought it was really fun to have him interject. I know that there were some times where he was still a little glued to the glass and watching the race and not so much calling it. But I thought you guys you did a good job reining him back in. He did a good job offering insights and just telling you what guys were thinking. And then also it's so cool to watch masters of their craft like Tyler is at his, just see a car one time go through a corner chasing. It was like either when Tanner or Dason were chasing down Brad, and he just talks about, oh man, he's really good off of 2. Brad's better here, Tanner's better here, Dason's better here. And it's just, you learn so much from watching those guys. I'm really glad Tyler's been a part of the Flow broadcast.
Yeah, it was definitely cool. And as you mentioned, we need to try and get him less race fan in the middle of the race, because there was a few times he told me off the mic that, man, I was too engaged watching the actual on-track action that I couldn't spit the words out.
But that's what's hard about Kubota High Limit Racing is it makes a fan out of anybody who watches it. It's just that good.
It really is. I mean, at the end of the broadcast Saturday, he said when we had the ticket QR code on the screen, he was like, if that didn't get you to buy a ticket to High Limit, I mean, he was already selling tickets for High Limit, so he's already got it figured out. Brian, is there anything you wanted to add on that subject there, or are you about to go take a nap?
I did not listen to the broadcast. I am normally at the track working, so I'm unfamiliar with Tyler's game. But all I heard from him is that he really enjoyed just more than anything seeing the behind the scenes stuff that he doesn't really I mean, it doesn't see it all as a race car driver in the pit area, right? But being up in the booth with Mike Hess and obviously working with you guys, so that is all I have to say on Tyler.
Well, we will see him again on Wednesday. I'm going to get him actually, that closet right there has a couple extra High Limit shirts, so I'm going to get him one. He felt a little left out not having the official polo on.
You going to slap a NOS sticker on it too?
I might have to. He'll wear the nose hat.
I'm so glad you talked about the clothes that were in that closet, because I thought you were about to tell us that you've got him trapped in that closet right now, and I was really worried.
He probably has 17 other cats in that closet.
Yeah.
There could be a cat in there, maybe.
Yeah,
There's definitely a lot of shirts.
You got McKinnon and McDavid and Farzad and
McTavish,
Rumpelstins. They're all back there.
They're all of those random cat names are hanging out in that
if you
closet.
look above my shoulder right now next to my head, that is hockey on the TV.
Good.
Are you the best?
I'm the best Anaheim Ducks fan.
Well, I bet you don't know the third manager that stays back in the tunnel and helps
All
the team.
All right.
So you really aren't a fan.
All right.
Yeah.
You've had enough today.
Can't even say the star player's name right. I mean, McTavish? Come on.
It's a free country, Chase. I don't know if you know that or not. It's a free
I'm
country.
aware. Well, before this goes any more off the rails, I guess we'll hit the pause button and argue some more when this recording is over. But thank you all for watching the High Limit Room this week. We hope to see you at the track this weekend at Lawrenceburg or Eldora. If not, make sure to watch live on FloRacing. Should be live on Flo about 6 p.m. each and every night. I'm Chase Rodman. That's Brian Walker and Tony Laporta. We'll talk to you guys again next week here on the High Limit Room.